Fresh from the showcase here at SwissWatchExpo, we're talking about some of the current models from Rolex that feature the bright blue dial. So this is a different dial than what you've seen from the Crown in previous iterations. They've done blue dials for a long time. It's been interesting when you look at the progression of things at Rolex. The oldest watches that we saw from Rolex really all had sort of a silver or champagne dial. In the 50s, you saw a lot of black dials made their debut, but most of the vintage watches that we get here at SwissWatchExpo from Rolex have silver dials. They're steel watches with a silver dial with baton markers, and that was kind of the standard for decades. And then they started really getting more creative, particularly in the Datejust line. They started introducing a lot of new dials in the day-date, the President. They started with the slabs of stone and slabs of wood and lots of different colors. But kind of the go-to, really, if you're not going to go with black or white, has been blue. And it's interesting, when I traveled through Europe in the late 1990s, I noticed that sort of a stock standard color for any sort of accessory in Europe was sort of a Bordeaux burgundy color. They viewed that color the way we view brown and black in America. And it's sort of the go-to color that they had for handbags, wallets, leather day runners, anything like that that was a leather accessory, belts, shoes, tended to be that burgundy color. But here in America, we saw that there was a craving for color and watches that would sort of pop on the wrist. As we've come through the decades, Rolex has changed their formula for blue and for the way they even manufacture the dials. They're one of the only watch companies that designs and manufactures their dials entirely in-house from beginning to end. And these bright blue current model dials are really exemplary. When you look at them, it's really fascinating how the light hits them. We'll sort of start with this Datejust 41. This one is the smooth bezel and the Jubilee bracelet. But when you look at the dial, you can see it has a radial sunburst effect in it. It's extremely subtle. You have to really get a loupe to appreciate the detail in the dial. But what they do is they take the dial and they use an engraving process where it's all done by hand, and the engravings are made starting in the center of the dial and going out to the edges. What this does is allow the light to catch on those grooves that are engraved in the dial. And as the light hits it, you'll see lighter and darker patterns as the watch moves. So it gives a depth, it gives a luster that you just don't get without that kind of finish. It's a completely different look from just a plain lacquered enameled dial. After the grooves are engraved, then they apply the color. In this case, it's done with a PVD process, so it'll probably never get a patina or fade or have any sort of issues with the color changing or coming off. After that, there's a light varnish applied to the entire surface, and then the 18-karat white gold markers with the chromolite lume are applied. So it's a very intensive process. It takes a lot of time. It's a lot of handwork. And on this one, you can see it has just the white gold baton markers with the chromolite. One of the things that people have said a lot to us lately here at SwissWatchExpo when they call in is that they're working from home. They're not wearing things that may be as nice as what they used to wear to the office or to meetings with clients, that sort of thing. The blue dial does give you still a very, very nice watch, but a little bit of a more casual bent to it. I think that one of the things that we like about the blue with everything in America is that we've sort of trained ourselves with the denim blue jeans, that's something that goes with everything. Sort of the same with the blue dial watches, that this is something you could wear with absolutely anything. You could wear it with a suit. You could wear it with brown or black shoes and belt. It doesn't have to coordinate. And you can wear it with jeans and a t-shirt just as easily. So it's really one of the most versatile watches that we sell, the idea of a steel watch with a blue dial. From there, let's talk about, this is the Skydweller. This is sort of the Datejust on steroids. Not only is it a larger case, but it's the steel watch with the 18-karat white gold fluted bezel. The bezel itself turns to actuate some of the complications on this watch. The dial, they've introduced to it a touch of red. You can see right here, I've got it set at 1 o'clock. That would indicate January. The red dot, just conveniently, there's 12 markers on the dial, 12 hours in the day, 12 months in the year. So that red marker at the end of that baton shows that it is month number 1. So that gives you January. This watch knows which months have 30 days and which have 31. It automatically adjusts for you every month except for February. At the beginning of March, you will have to make an adjustment. It also shows 2 time zones. The smaller sub-dial ring here at 6 shows the time in a second time zone. This is one of the most complicated movements that Rolex has ever made, and it just looks great with the bright blue dial with just a hint of red there. Now, the one that is the most interesting, I think, as far as just from the standpoint of the dial, is this 18 karat white gold Daytona. Now, of course, the Daytona is a long history of being a sporting watch, but when you put it in white gold, it really just sort of raises the bar quite a bit. But this dial is not available on the steel Daytonas. It's only in the white ones, so people who know their watches will immediately know what they're looking at. It's a beautiful dial. It's the bright blue finish overall, and when you look at it, it definitely catches the eye as bright blue, but when you look closely at it, there are some great red touches to it. It has red rings around each of the 3 subdials and a very subtle red marker at the end of each of the baton markers. So again, the red doesn't just jump out at you, but it's a great combination with the white gold, the bright blue, the 18 karat white gold applied baton markers filled with chromolite, and then the red touches. So any of these would be a great choice for working from home, for casual, going out, for even going back to the way things were before the pandemic. These will be fantastic watches to wear into the office or with client meetings, just like you used to wear. Look us up on SwissWatchExpo. If you just type in Rolex Blue, you'll be able to see all of these watches. This one is the bright blue dial, not the previous blues that came in other dials. So these are specifically the ones we're talking about. But give us a call. We'll help you differentiate and talk about what the differences are between the various Rolex blues. Click the bell, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next time at SwissWatchExpo.com.